What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Thursday evening's Anfield Agenda news roundup. I must apologise if you can hear some noise in the background. It is a digger that is currently on the go in the front garden, so I'm doing my best to talk over it. And over the course of this video, we're going to discuss Keith Hackett, the former referee, and his thoughts on the Virgil van Dijk ruled out goal. I know, we're all sick of it, but I just want to give you another perspective on it. We're going to talk about Harvey Elliott. We're going to talk about a potential crazy swap deal that's doing the rounds over in Spain that involves Florian Wirtz and a few other bits and pieces that we hope keeps you right up to date. Now, as always, I've got to point out that just because we're bringing a story for discussion, it doesn't mean that we believe it or think it's going to happen, because I know there's some people in the comments who think that we just believe every story out there. That's not how these videos works. We bring you the news, you decide whether you believe it or not, and I'll give you my perspective on it. I will be back here tonight at 8:45, actually, excuse me, at 9 p.m. for the late night agenda. Hope you can join me for that. Until then, let's get stuck in. Right, we're going to start with former referee Keith Hackett, who has said a clear manipulation of the law just to justify an incorrect decision. Robertson did not interfere with his opponent. He's right. You know he's right. I know he's right. Liverpool fans know he's right. Most of football knows he's right. The only person who seems to think that it is not incorrect was, of course, Howard Webb and Michael Oliver. And, well, we all know what I and most Liverpool fans think of that. Let's move on to Graham Potter, of course, Swedish national team head coach now, speaking about Alexander Isak and his fitness levels. He said, I've spoken to Alexander and he is doing well. He has no problems, he's fit and available for selection. Now, we did previously say, of course, that there's no chance that Isak will do the 290 minutes over the 5 days, so let's wait and see. One, how he gets on, and two, hopefully, that he doesn't pick up another knock. Greg Evans has said, Harvey Elliott thought hard about staying at Liverpool and fighting for his place, but with the arrivals of Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong, it was clear he would face further struggles. When Aston Villa formalised their interest, he decided a move would give him the best chance of achieving his aims, one for which was to push for a place in the World Cup squad next summer. And this is why the whole situation is very disappointing for Harvey Elliott, because he went from having very limited game time at Liverpool to understandably seeking more first-team football, and that hasn't really worked out. To build on from this, Greg writes, an early exit from Aston Villa looks unlikely for Harvey Elliott, with no January recall clause in Liverpool's season-long loan, while neither Villa or Liverpool have indicated at this stage that they want the deal cancelled. So we're going to have to just wait and see. Paul Gorst speaking a little bit about what he observed in the summer for Liverpool and their training camp, and he focuses on long throw-ins here. So let me read it out to you. As Slot and his coaching staff underwent an open training session at the facility used by Japan national team during their pre-season tour of the Far East, it was clear that long throw-ins, their routines, was being worked on and adding a new string to their bow for the Premier League champions. So the lads were over there working on long throw-ins and set pieces for the season ahead. Paul goes on to say, Slot spoke after winning the title last season about needing new weapons, but after giving the long throw-ins a trial in Japan, the champions decided to leave the experiment on the cutting room floor. Naive? Well, maybe they didn't know quite how important set pieces, long throw-ins were going to be this season, so let's wait and see. Right, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I'm playing for Liverpool and I'm playing with Jurgen. He said, Jurgen's best attribute, I thought, is literally getting the absolute most out of everybody, and physically first of all. And like me, I went there as a winger, come midfield attacking player, and he'd be celebrating me blocking the left-back channel ball out for a throw-in. That dirty work, and I gained an appreciation for what the other side of the game is that I never really thought of before. Like, you do it because you do it, but I used to go on to these games excited to block it and see him going, you know, getting the crowd going. So then when it comes to his team talks and everything like that, you feel like you're going over the trenches into war. That's how he'd rile you up. And there wasn't, that was just in the Liverpool team. There was no one game that we thought we weren't going to win. Every time we went out, Arsenal, City, whoever it was, we were going to win. And he said this on the Ben Foster podcast. So you can see there what we talked about last night. For me, I can't see Arne being that guy. I can't see him being that inspirational as Jurgen is. Now, different people respond to different things, but for me, I'm a go to war for the manager kind of guy, so Jurgen's behaviour would get the best out of me. And I wonder, is that maybe what we're lacking so far in Arne? Because for all his tactical nous and his obviously good coaching ability, that doesn't seem to be something that we see, the public see. Now, maybe behind closed doors in the dressing room he's different. But let me know if you agree or disagree on that one. That is one attribute I think I'd like to see a bit more of. That ruthlessness, as Klopp said before, my old midfield would have had the balls to win that game. And that inspires me, so let me know what you think. Right, the crazy swap deal that we're talking about at the start of this video. And I don't know how these people get away with it, ladies and gentlemen, because quite frankly, this is ludicrous to the extreme that this has even been spoken about in a reputable outlet. So Defensa Central, who have to be called out for this because it's absolute nonsense, they write, Real Madrid are looking to offload winger RODRYGO and are exploring a potential swap deal with Liverpool involving Florian Wirtz. Now, before I get into the crux of it, we could stop there and we know it's nonsense. But they carry on and push this absolute codswallop further. But both clubs are reportedly open on negotiations with the 22-year-old German struggling to adapt to life in the Premier League. No, they're not. There is no world, no way, no how that Liverpool are open to those negotiations. None, zero. It isn't happening. Stop lying. Because it isn't going to happen. If Liverpool want to buy RODRYGO, fair enough. But they're not going to fall hard to win the battle for Florian Wirtz and give up on the kid in 2 months. That is absolute nonsense. And anybody who writes that should be called out on it because it's waffle. Now, I'm going to move on tonight to talk about some potential targets for manager that were under discussion before Arne Slot and may come into play if and potentially down the line the Reds need a new manager. But we'll talk about that tonight because I can't quite fit it into this video. Harvey Elliott can be recalled by Liverpool, but nothing is in the works yet, said Lewis Steele. So that's kind of different to what Greg Evans said, who said there was no recall clause in there. So again, mixed reporting here, and we're still struggling to figure out which one's right. So Lewis Steele also writes, Liverpool are planning for new talks over deals for Alexis McAllister, Ryan Gravenberch and Dominic Szoboszlai. Agents of all three are keen on bigger contracts. I bet they are. Imagine an agent being wanting more money and being happy about getting paid a bigger commission. Shock horror, ladies and gents, shock horror. But look, as Liverpool fans, that's the news we want to hear, right? We'd like those three gents signed to new deals because they are the heartbeat of that Liverpool midfield. So fingers crossed we get positive news on that soon. Liverpool remain 100% behind Arne Slot, and that support has not decreased in this poor run, writes Lewis Steele. So what do you think? What would it take for Liverpool to maybe push the panic button? And I honestly don't think there's much he could do this season. And the good point on this that people keep bringing up in the chat, and this is why I love our community, is it's all very well and good, any of us saying, let's get rid of the manager. And by the way, like I've said numerous times, I'm not there. But who do you bring in? There isn't somebody that I could say right now outside of Jurgen that you would go, let's go get X or Y and it be reasonable or achievable. So for now, we're just going to have to hope that Arne gets it right. I'm still behind him and the players, but, you know, you can't keep losing runs of 5-6 games. That's just not acceptable at Liverpool Football Club. But that's where we're at for now, ladies and gentlemen. So we covered quite a bit there. Harvey Elliott, key Hackett's view on the Virgil van Dijk goal. Of course, we've spoken about that crazy swap deal that's doing the rounds in Spain via Defensa Central, which is quite simply nonsense. Arne Slot, and tonight we'll focus on some of the managerial targets that came close to joining Liverpool. So that and lots more tonight, 9 o'clock. Hope to see you then. Appreciate your support as always. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.